because they're not really part of this. Now, I tried several ways that would work in architectural or pro or chief, and of course they don't work in interiors because you don't have the choices that are available in those titles. So this is what I found that kind of sort of works, okay? So I'm going to draw railing walls, which you may have tried. I don't know what your dimensions are, but I'm just going to make a thing here. I think you're just smaller, just at a guess. It's not probably 8 feet wide. Let me get it a little more realistic. It's probably about 4 by 4, I would guess, something like that. Now if I do that, let me escape out of that. I didn't rehearse this part. Okay, I still want to lose this 45-degree angle wall if I hit the dimension tool here and make it 4 feet. Okay, I still got it there. Now we'll set that to 4 feet, see what it looks like. Yeah, okay, that's probably about right. Now, this ought to be a little bit wide, not quite so wide. These wall sections are probably going to be about the same. That's about 30 inches, about 30 inches. Yeah, okay, that's pretty close. I'm not going to quibble about fractions. We'll put a door in it. And as you've noticed, when you use solid railings, it comes in, you put a doorway and it comes in as a doorway. We're going to make it hinged and make it something a little more interesting than a slab door. I think yours, in the picture, it's a double slab. Well, we'll go ahead and do that. Panel, rectangular. I think it's something like that. See that downloading and so forth. That's just the way this is set up to work. Okay, I don't care about the height and so forth. So the width, I think, is probably for a pantry is going to be 24 inches, so we'll set that. Now we'll look at this. Well, before we look at it in the camera view, let me set these wall heights. Okay, now I use railing walls. Now I'm going to change the attribute to solid. I think the default ceiling height in here is 9 feet. I'm going to raise this to 10 feet, but I'm going to set these at 8 feet, the wall heights. And over on the materials tab, I'm going to set the rail to drywall instead of that wood. Kind of already done this before, so I'm just kind of walking through it again. So I won't look so silly, I guess. Okay, we'll get that wall. Yeah, in interiors you can't shift select things like you can in the more expensive versions. So that's the reason if some of you pro users are saying, why is he doing that? Because interiors can't do it. That's why. We'll set that to 8 feet. Go over the materials tab. That's one of the reasons you pay more money, so you don't have to do this one little deal at a time. It's worth more money from my point of view, but of course I don't pay your bills for you. So if you don't agree, I understand. But in interiors and essentials, this is what you have to do. You see these walls kind of change characteristic. Also lost my door, I just noticed. I'll put it back. And yeah, I didn't do the solid thing. Set that to 8 feet. All right, I'm going to do the door again. For some reason, the software decided I shouldn't have a door. You just have to disagree sometimes. I'll make a no, that's right. We had 4 panel, I remember. Panel, rectangular, 4 panel, I think. Yep. Okay, when you put a door in a solid railing, you can see that it comes in with the casing suppressed. And I did try going over the casing tab and turning it on. And since I have a wood floor, I'm going to suppress the sill because you wouldn't normally have a sill on a hardwood floor for a pantry. Pantry's going to probably have hardwood flooring in it as well. Anyway, you can see that the casing kind of follows the door in a solid railing wall. So, well, let me show you what this looks like. It looks like the devil, but it's a start. You can see the door automatically follows the height that I set of the railing walls. Of course, I want the door probably at 80 inches. I'm just going to manually jerk it down there to 80 inches. And with solid railing walls, it's going to leave a gap up here. Sorry, that's what Interiors does. It doesn't do anything else. That's what it does. It doesn't, like in Pro, I think, I'd probably be able to stretch this wall out, polyline, and you can't access that in Interiors. And sorry for me mentioning it since you can't do it, but I mean, there are differences, and other people are going to be watching this video tutorial than you. Okay, so what can be done? So I'm going to open this door and suppress the trim because I can't get the trim to go across the top, so I have it on the sides, and I can't control the trim from the dialog. So I'm just going to make this 24 wide. It's already, you can see this is grayed out. You can't change it here. That's the reason I did it in the camera view. I am going to suppress the casing because that's just it's not going to work. Okay, I'm going to raise the ceiling here. We'll go over here to Edit, Default Settings, Floor. I'm going to change this ceiling to, it looks like in your picture you've got either 11-foot ceilings or 10-foot ceilings. I'm going to make it 10-foot ceilings. So that should automatically change the ceiling in here to this, what do you want to call this, and this space in here ought to follow that. Okay. But I set these walls to 8 feet, and so we have the beginnings of something that you might consider acceptable. Okay, the next thing is I'm going to go to Cabinet Tools and pick Soffit and stick my cursor over here in the corner until I get a precursor of this kind of the shape that I want. You see it there? It's not there. It's just like it's just saying if you left click, that's what you're going to get. So I'm going to left click and get that. And I'm going to resize it. I'm using the control key, by the way, to jerk it over here by the door. And I'm going to just resize it out until it bumps into the walls. Now I'm going to use the control key to go over this wall. Oh, do I need to do that? Yeah, I guess I do need to do that. I'm going to pull that just inside the sheetrock. I'm going to pull this just inside the sheetrock layer. You can see that what I'm talking about over here, that's the sheetrock layer. And I pulled it up right up against behind it. And this edge I'm going to pull all the way out. Hopefully this will make sense in a minute. Why I'm bumping into the wall, by the way. Left click and drag, and it's bumping. And then it would tend to, jump over the side. I'm going to press the control key to give me a little bit more of a fine control. Depending on what you're trying to do, sometimes the Alt key works better. Alt key, left click, drag, or select, Alt key, left click, drag. Okay, let's see what that looks like. I know it's not a finished product, but I know where I'm going, and perhaps you don't. This soffit's going to become the ceiling of this pantry, because I can't define the ceiling in here through the dialog box, because it'll goober the roof up. If you have roofs, it'll create a lower roof system over where you lowered the ceiling. So I'm going to leave it the same at 10 feet. And I'm going to put an apparent ceiling there made out of a soffit. See, perfect, no problem. You can kind of see the gaps that I made over here, and you can see here where it's overlapping over. I'm going to take this as an object and pull it down to the door. Yeah, okay. And pull this down until it's even with the top of my quote room unquote. And within suspension of disbelief, that's a start of where we want to end up. Now, the casing in Interiors, You're just going to have to make little tiny soffits the shape of the casing and put them there. And then make them this trim color and so forth, like on the base mold. That's the only way you can do it in interiors. You can cry in your beer, but that's, you know, you paid what you paid, and that's what you get for what you paid. Okay, now we'll finish this up. I'll quit pounding on you and being mean. But it's just factual. When you buy a tool, it'll do what it's designed to do and nothing more. And, you know, that may not be very happy. Oh, I don't want a corner cabinet there. Sorry, I picked the wrong tool. I want the soffit tool. I'm going to do the same thing I did. Well, okay, it's not letting me do it because there's already a soffit there. Not to worry. We'll just pick another corner. Put it over here. There. I just kind of put my cursor in the corner and then left click. I'll take that, rotate it. Oops, well, he says with great certainty he's going to rotate it. That's me I'm talking about. Stick it over here on top of the other soffit. And I'm going to take a camera view of that. Yeah, okay, that's fairly reasonable looking. And we'll just ooch it up to the ceiling. I don't particularly care about the exact thickness of the ceiling or exact, you know. I'm looking for appearances. If you want to make it exact, then you can make it exact. But for a video tutorial, you ask, how can this be done in interiors? Well, this is how it can be done. In terms of the trim, I'm not going to do the whole trim. I'm just going to do one piece, and you can see whether or not you want to do that. But soffits can be used to make or emulate lots of different kind of objects. I'm just going to stick a soffit over here. Wait till the precursor kind of looked right, and then I'm going to open the dialog box and make this a piece of door trim. We'll make, let's see, the width 3.5 inches. The height, I don't know. The depth is going to be 0.75. I mean, it could be, you know, 3/8 or whatever you wanted to. Okay, that's beginning to look like a piece of trim. We'll wheel in there. I'm going to stick it over there in the neighborhood of where I want it to go. And once you make the first piece, you can copy paste it to the other side. It's not like, there it is up there. Now, if you use the material painter, let me just show you what's wrong with the material painter. I'm going to take this color here, left click, I'm going to paste it on here. Let's see what it did. Okay. Well, just as soon as I was going to show you how this didn't work, it worked. Sometimes a material painter will give you a material transfer, and sometimes it'll make a new material based on the old material that was there. And you need to read up on the manual to find out exactly what it does and when it does what it does. I just showed you my ignorance. I was going to give you an example of how it doesn't work, and then it worked perfectly. Anyway, you get the idea. I'm just going to take this and jerk it down here until it hits the base mold. I'm going to wheel in to get a little bit less reveal on this side between the door. Also, so that it doesn't stick. I'm using a control key. It was snapping too much. Let's see how that looks. Okay, 3.5 is a little bit too wide for this space here. I'm going to make it 2.5 or 2 something smaller, so it doesn't hang over this edge of the wall corner. Then you can just hit the copy key or copy in place, and we'll drag the copy over to the other side of the door. And like I say, if you don't have Pro, you don't have Chief, then you're going to have to do stuff like this. If you don't like it, spend some more money. And then we'll copy, paste another piece up here and line all this stuff, and then it would look like a reasonable facsimile of what you put a picture of. And this is Home Designer Interiors 10, and this is what I came up with that would work to do it. Like I say, in the lesser expensive titles, you just have to work a little bit harder to get the same result as in Pro or Chief. And that's just how the cow eats the cabbage. Thanks for watching this tutorial. I hope it helps you and others.